A recent media blitz has seen the Mayor of Wellington City, who worshipped the Mayor Tory Whanau, discuss things like the viability of the city's long-term plan, the Wellington Airport shares, and even the sale of her own car. So here she is with me, live in studio now. E te kahika. Tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe.
Very good to have you. Thank you very much for your time. We've just seen a really interesting story about a council embracing te reo Māori and tikanga. Now, your council's done the same. In fact, I know you're a Māori language award-winning council.
We are indeed.
For your strategy and implementation plan. Of what benefit is that, do you think, to ratepayers?
So I think the revitalisation of te reo Māori benefits everyone, benefits mana whenua and benefits the public. And we know that our rangatahi are actually picking it up quite quickly and very well. And I think, whether it's honouring te tiriti or being proud of our Indigenous heritage and just generally te ao Māori, keeping our language alive is incredibly important. So I think central government as well as local councils have an obligation to keep that up.
Of what benefit is it, though, to ratepayers, right? To ratepayers, who are probably thinking, like, we're worried about infrastructure. Why is this so important for them, do you think?
Yeah, I think, that's a fair question. But when you think about our tūpiki ora strategy for Wellington City Council and Māori wards, the cost of it is very low in comparison to, say, infrastructure, which is $1.8 billion. So it's quite a low cost, but has a huge benefit for the community overall. So as well as, things like infrastructure, transport, housing, all that, the building, the construction, all of that good stuff, that sets the foundation. But what makes a community are things like language, art, culture, and that's something that Wellington City Council is very proud of.
OK, well, I will pick up on infrastructure issues later, but you mentioned Māori wards. You support Māori wards? The council supports Māori wards.
Absolutely.
Why? Again, what benefit is that? What has been the benefit of having a Māori ward to the Wellington Council?
Of course. So as part of as well as our tākai here agreement, where we have two pauiwi at the table with voting rights at committee stage, it's also important that mana whenua have a vote at the table when it comes to council. So for us, it's certainly about representation, but also honouring te tiriti and ensuring that we are truly partnering with our iwi leaders.
And I know you don't agree with the referendum,
yes,
which must take place as a part of the legislative process next year. Why is that the case? Why shouldn't the people of Wellington have a say on whether or not there should be a Māori ward or not, do you think?
Well, first of all, they already have had a say. So when we went to consultation with the public, it had a 94% approval for having a Māori ward. And so whether it goes to the referendum or not, I am incredibly confident that we're going to retain the Māori ward through the next election. Secondly, it doesn't make sense to me for the government to focus on the Māori ward and coming in over council and overreaching and telling us what to do when it comes to our democratic processes, when actually there are other wards that they're not focusing on at all, including the rural ward. So why the Māori ward is the question for me. And as we've seen just over the last year and a bit, what it's doing, as well as things like the Treaty Principles bills, it's creating division. It's creating a rhetoric that, I think is quite harmful for Māori, as well as the general public.
You mentioned the word division.
Yes.
And I want to talk about division because when you became the Mayor of Wellington, you talked about wanting to be the unifier for the city. If you were to give yourself a mark out of 10 based on that alone, what mark would you give yourself?
Oh, I think I would probably give myself maybe a 7 out of 10. And
why is that?
I say 7 because the majority of our councillors, about 70%, which informs the 7, we're unified, we're collaborative, we take every issue by issue, we cross the political spectrum. We have a National Party member as part of that majority as well. And actually, we've put forward a really solid long-term plan for Wellington City.
People will be surprised to hear that. In fact, they might not believe it.
Totally, and I get that.
Why do you think, then, you would give yourself a 7 if what people hear is issues like, for example, the sale of the Wellington Airport shares, which seems completely divided and looks like, and I may be wrong, but it looks like on October the 10th, the votes won't be there.
So it certainly looks that way. And what I would say is, I think what I've learned, for the last 2 years, I've worked very hard to work across the aisle and collaborate with everyone at council. I think Wellington City Council will always be kind of a place for political theatre, for a lot of media interest. I mean, we have the Post as well as the gallery based in Wellington, so there's always going to be a spotlight shining on us, and any sort of hint of division which exists through many councils is going to be on the front page. And I do find that a shame, because it does completely overshadow the great work that Wellington City Council does.
Okay, and I don't want to focus just on the shares sale for the Wellington Airport. However, October 10th, there is an extraordinary council meeting. The votes will be put. If the council does not vote to support the sale of the shares, what will happen next? What will you do? So
on October 10th, we're going to be presented with what impact that would have from officers. So they're working really hard on that now. But early indications show that if we pulled the airport sale from the long-term plan, because it's currently embedded in that plan, that essentially derails the long-term plan and would have to go back to square one.
But what should happen then? Should a commissioner be appointed, or even someone else who would come in and work with the council to help the council? Because I know you've talked about that. Will that happen? Is that what you will do?
It is a likely next step. It's for the minister to decide that, but it's a potential outcome if our long-term plan has to go back out for consultation, which is what will happen if the airport is pulled from the LTP.
What does that say about your leadership?
I think, again, you know, over the last 2 years, I have worked very, very hard to, work with every single councillor to get the best LTP. I'm yet to lose a vote, to be honest. Perhaps this might be the first. It's hard to say. But again, when you're attracting a lot of, well, not a lot, some councillors that, love political drama, political theatre, and if I may say, a couple that are perhaps there for the wrong reasons, it does put things into question, and it's difficult.
That seems a very harsh indictment on people who were electorally appointed by the people of Wellington.
Yes.
You're essentially saying that their votes don't count.
Oh, no, absolutely not. What I'm saying is it's a shame when you have a minority that constantly relitigates decisions that are democratically made. I think, in my view, that shows a real lack of understanding around what governance is. That's what I mean.
You are a wāhine Māori political leader. The public has been, in many respects, people would say, very hard on wāhine Māori political leaders. One thinks of the likes of Nanaia Mahuta, even Hana Rafiti Maipi Clark in the last general election process. Why do you think that is?
If I think back, so I would see this also with, say, Mitiria Ture, Marama Davidson, Kiritapu Allen. There was a very focused effort on certain details about their lives that perhaps men wouldn't have the same focus. That's something I witnessed as a staffer, and something that, it has been concerning. Do you think that this is a part of the narrative that happens with you? Look, it's hard for me to see, kind of from my perspective, how things are playing out. I do really want to highlight that, it is a deep, deep privilege for me to have this role, and I love my job, and I love the challenges it brings me. In terms of how I'm represented in media or social media or so forth, it's difficult for me to comment, right? Because when you're looking at yourself, but in terms of how I've seen other wāhine Māori treated, in the public sphere, it's challenging.
So why do it then?
Why do what?
Why do this job? Why continue to do this job if you know the negativity that you will face as a political leader just because you are a wāhine Māori?
So there are two reasons why I do this role. One, it is my deep passion for Wellington City. I want to play my part in ensuring that we've set up our city for the future, our rangatahi, ensuring that we've got our infrastructure, transport, housing, all sorted, maintaining that sense of community and culture. And I think, that's why I stood. On the other hand, I do want to show our rangatahi and other wāhine Māori I mean, yes, it's challenging and there's stuff I don't really want them to see, but if I can get through this, they can too, because representation is absolutely crucial for having a fair democracy, for having the right outcomes for Māori. So I will stay in this role and I'll be encouraging others to step up to the plate too.
And you have been forthright with the public about issues you have had during your time as mayor. Why do that?
So in most cases, I didn't have a choice. The other people would find things out and go to the media on my behalf, or would go to the media with rumours, which I had to disprove and then back up with what was actually happening. And I kind of also decided early on in my term, I may as well front foot the issues that I have so people can accept them, get over them, and also allow other people who might have similar issues to me that, hey, it's okay, it's normal, and also maybe you want to stand for Parliament or Council as well.
Do you think it's helped, though, taking that forthright stance? I mean, you were a very popular new mayor. You were young, you were polling high. That has changed. In recent polls, there's been a complete turnaround just in 1 year, certainly from the time that you came clean with the public about issues that you had. Has that impacted, do you think, the public's view of you and the Wellington ratepayers' view of you as mayor?
I'm sure it would have. I'm sure it would have had an impact. And on top of that, you know, we know that traditionally when new popular mayors get in, they kind of lose their popularity after 3 months. It's like the honeymoon period and then the work starts and then their popularity goes down.
Why is it? Do you think that's weight of expectation of, say, for example, you're going to be a unifier? Things get divided. You want to do infrastructure work, doesn't happen. Is the weight of expectation too much or too high, do you think?
No, I think it's actually just the trend. So, you know, I was a new, exciting candidate and who knew what I was going to do? But once I actually got into the office and sat my, you know, started my plan of transformation for the city and what that would involve, it was a hard thing to take for the public. And I was the one who increased rates. And I was the one who... Look, I've had to increase, say, the water infrastructure budget, you know, quite intensely by, you know, to $1.8 billion. That has meant a large increase on rates. But it is the work that has to be done, and that's something that I'll take responsibility for.
Are you going to stand for mayor next year?
Yes, I am.
Why?
Because I want to. I think continuity and consistency is incredibly important for a successful city. We have a 10-year plan. It is a solid plan, and I want to make sure that it continues through. And, you know, I'll be telling the public, you know, we have to stay the course for the betterment of our city. I'm the right leader to do that. And
I know you worked in the Green Party. You were Cos, you were Chief of Staff of the Green Party for a term as well. So you are not going to look at national politics in any way, shape or form within the next year?
No, absolutely not.
You don't. Why renew then your membership for the Green Party?
So you can be a member of a political party but not actually participate in their public politics. So I'm still an independent mayor and I can make whatever decision that doesn't necessarily align with the Green Party. So that ensures that I have the freedom to decide what's best for Wellington, not necessarily the Green Party. But in the background, the Green Party is a community of people who share the same values as me. So, you know, Green Party membership, you know, engaging with mana whenua, this is just me, you know, being in the loop with people that I share values with.
Can I close on just one final question? The Prime Minister made some pretty clear comments about Tākina Event Centre at the Local Government New Zealand conference recently. Isn't he right that council should be focused on infrastructure issues and key major issues and not be focused on whatever way he put it in terms of things like Tākina events?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I would say that every council around Aotearoa is doing that. So we've all put water reform right at the top of our agenda. The other is transport, which is our second spend, social housing, which is $500 million, keeping our levels of service, and then we've got other things like the revitalisation of te reo Māori and so forth.
Which could be the nice-to-haves that he's talking about.
It could be, but for Wellington City and what our voters have prioritised, that's what we're doing.
E te kaika, tēnā koe. Thank you for your time.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, maira. That was Her Worship, the Mayor of Wellington, Tory Whanau.